Welcome back. Joining us in the studio all the way from Lafayette, Louisiana, EDM DJ CORM. How are you? And thanks for joining us today.
This is cool. I like that you do this.
So with a name like CORM, CORM, I'm sure you get this a lot. How did you come up with, because there's a lot of DJs out there that say, I'm DJ lightning speed. I'm, something that has to deal with the electronica music or what their skill levels are. I used to be DJ Bump the Record Player 4 or 5 times. That's my DJ name. But as far as like CORM, where did that come from?
One of the newer surgeons, Patrick CORM. And so I just adopted that, and people in the operating room called me the same thing. And so I was like, you know what, that sounds pretty dope. It's also identifies me well, and I like it. And so that's kind of where the name came from. And just to kind of emphasize that's who you're talking about, I put those 2 exclamation points after that. So.
Is it an angry CORM, or is it just like, hey, I'm CORM, I'm here to set everything straight here?
It's a CORM that's full of excitement and emotion, and I think I bring that through the music as well. So yeah, that's all that.
So I was reading your bio. It's a very mild bio. I mean, you haven't done a whole lot. I mean, since starting CORM, but you play college basketball.
Yeah.
And how did that go? You were trying to get into the NBA, or you qualified for the NBA? Did I read that wrong?
So I played for a semi-pro league. And
okay.
I played overseas for a little while, and so yeah, I went pro. But LSU was fun, man. I was there at the time of DJ Diesel, Great Shaq. People know him as Shaq. And it was a great time at LSU. Learned a lot, and met some good people that I still keep up with today. So
Did you ever play against the big man?
Well, we were on the same team, thank goodness. So I didn't have to play against him. So.
Well, sometimes they run practice teams and stuff.
Yeah, practice teams. Yeah, I tried to sneak up behind him one time and dunk, but it didn't work out.
He's a smart man. He's a smart
Smart big man. Yeah.
So outside of LSU, you became, you didn't just come out of college and go right into DJing. So tell me how that journey led to you to come into being an EDM DJ.
Yeah. So at around 2015. I'd been in practice for now probably 6 or 7 years, and I always really loved just the energy of EDM. I mean, I remember this stuff dates back, ways, and so it's always kind of been this high energy. Forget about the bad things in life, and you can work out and have fun and do what you want to do. So I went to this concert in Alabama. It's called Hangouts Fest. And I saw Skrillex. Skrillex was in concert. And, man, I looked across the crowd, and people were just having a blast.
Eating it up.
Yeah, they were. I mean, it was like, I can't even tell you, hundreds of thousands. And they weren't thinking about what's going to happen tomorrow or the stress of today. They were just having fun. And, as a DJ coming up in high school, I said, man, I looked at that, and I said, man, I need to get back to this. This is real energy. And so that's kind of really how it started. So, at that time, I had a little money since I was working, finally had a real job. I went online and I said, I want to get exactly what the equipment that Skrillex had. And so I ordered all this stuff and I got it in. I was like, wow, this is a little complicated.
It's very complicated.
So, the whole 9, man, the CDJs and the mixing board. And I started kind of toying around with it, and then it got to be really, really fun, and it started lasting longer periods of time. I'd go upstairs and start mixing up some things, and a half hour became 3 hours, and that is, you lose time. And so eventually I said, you know what, this is probably going somewhere. And I was kind of working with some other organizations outside of my medical career. And said, look, I want to send us a couple of DJs, and Skrillex was one of them. And really, we didn't hear back much. And I decided, you know what, let's just find out what they're going to say. So I asked my agent to reach out, and someone from another group said, yeah, he can DJ, but does he have his own original music? And I was like, well, nope.
That's another step, yeah.
Right. So I had this Ableton Suite. It was like Ableton Suite 9 at the time. And it needed to be upgraded. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to start kind of dealing with this. So 343 Labs out of New York, I started doing courses online every Monday for like an hour and 45 minutes. And one song, my first song took me probably about 3 or 4 months. And then one song became 3 songs, became 7 songs. And now I have a catalog of over 300. And so it just really blossomed from there. And just, man, it's been great. So that's kind of how it came to be.
So the song that we're playing on the Deacon Live show right now, one of them is In the Air at Night. Now, that's a classic. That's Phil Collins' first single that he had when he went solo. And how does that happen? How does that go down when, you know, you're using someone else's song and getting the copyrights for it and then putting your name on it? Because that's always been like a mystery to me. How do these DJs, who, not necessarily you, but, you know, get paid to play other people's songs? I know there's ASCAP's license and BMI license and all that, but I mean, to create that mix and then put your name on it, how does that process work?
Yeah, so if you can take a cover, because that's really not his original voice, but if you use a cover, that's already kind of been hashed out. It's been licensed from other people to use. So if you do the remix or someone covering it, it's a little bit different. Now, if you use the original artist, it's always, you have to have their permission to do that. And so you have to get in touch with the publicist or their manager, et cetera. And once you get something in writing, then it's cool. And then, you know, you get paid, but they also get royalties off of it. So the benefits of that doing another artist or doing a remix is that it'll bring some notoriety to your skill set while, you know, you're taking just an iconic song and changing it a little bit, and it's able to migrate over to another demographic. And so people can listen to it again and go, man, you know what, that's kind of dope. And so you take some things that some people might consider, you know, dark or you know, a little bit slow. You speed up the BPMs, you spice up a little bit, drop some different types of hi-hats or bass tones in it, and it becomes a different song in some ways, but still that flavor, iconic feel of what only Phil Collins can do.
That similar hook, so everyone's like going, I think I know this song, and then the lyrics start coming in, and everyone's like, I know this song. The only thing I'm listening to the whole song, you know what part I'm looking for. You know what part everyone's looking for. They're waiting for that Phil Collins fill somewhere in there, that you know, and everyone wants to beat on their steering wheel as they're listening to it. And I noticed that I don't know if it was the original cover, the person that you got the original cover from, did they take it out, or did you take it out, or what? I mean, how did you approach that? Because that's the staple of the song.
Yeah, so Marcel and I, when we got together, and actually I did a remix prior to that before we decided to collaborate on it. And I had it in there, and then when we started kind of going back and forth, and I heard some of what he was bringing to the table, and the overall song of it, just I liked where he kind of took that song. And so in it, it was kind of risky, but we took a chance, and that's kind of how it happened.
I was, you know, me not being a DJ, I was waiting for like the wub and the square wave to come in, that whoa, 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 you know, the Skrillex sound, you know, that would have been a creative blend. But you know, I'm just a little guy talking behind a microphone here, so now,
man, I get it.
Now, tell me your collaboration. You brought up Marcel Scott. How did you guys meet, and you know, and his collaboration with you?
So one of my first, it's either my first or my second album. I was looking for kind of an intro because I had a show I needed to do, and there are some sites where they can create your intro. Well, I found this one site, and there was a song I came across, and it was called "I Want the DJ," and I was like, man, what? Let me just listen to this, and I heard it. And it was such a cool song. I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to grab this, and I'm going to use it kind of as an intro. And so then Marcel kind of reached out to me. And after that, we just started, you know, doing some things together, exchanging notes, and then started making music. That's kind of how it just organically happened.
Now, I know what EDM stands for. What is your definition of EDM? Because I grew up, I'm from Orlando, Florida. And that at the time, Miami, the Orlando area, it was kind of like the birth of the all-night rave scenes. You would see it all the times in the Florida area. Clubs would stay open until 6 o'clock, and they got rid of that a long time ago. You know, I'm used to, like, you know, jungle. I'm used to the ambient and all that stuff. Define to everyone your version of what EDM is.
Well, I think I agree. So electronic dance music encompasses so many different things, and you're right, man. I mean, there's so many different styles, so many different genres of it. whether you're thinking about, big house, or are you looking at trance, future house, deep bass, etc. It's EDM is to me, it's energy balanced with emotion. It's a creativity or a site where you can go and you create many different things that are really based on your emotion. And you can, when you run into runner's block, a writer's block, you have some access to different tools that can, you can spice these things up. I think that it's allowed some creators to do things on their own in-house, create studios that aren't so expensive as they've been in the past. And when I think about EDM since the 2010s, so to speak, we've gone from big room anthems to more diverse sounds like melodic bass and hybrid trap and techno influences, and it's going to change. And excites me most really about the technology from it, is that it allows producers, like I said, to push creative boundaries. There's AI, there's modular synths, there's new production techniques that are really changing the game, and I think EDM is going to be limitless going forward.
Now, explain you have another song that we're playing here on the show. It's called "Ruined." Now, I forgive me, I was looking to see if it was another cover or something else. Is this an original?
Or an original.
It is original. Yeah. So the song "Ruined" that we're playing is an original song for you. How did that process? How did you get the idea for the song "Ruined"?
So I've done a couple of songs with an artist by the name of Helene, and she had a song called Voodoo, where she's on getting credits for. And so she I came across the lyrics to that song, and there are a couple of other songs that she's kind of sent to me, or I have access to. And when I heard it, it just kind of one of those things that'll just grab you. And so as you're getting inspired, you start thinking about a song that's gonna maybe address some things that might have happened in your life. And from there, it just takes off. You start thinking about a beat that you can put to it, a cool chord progression. Her voice is amazing. And so that's kind of how it blossomed.
You've got, you're on Spotify. You're on, social media and all that. What are the advantages that you're seeing? Let's backtrack a little bit. When did you start being an actual, DJ where, hey, I could probably make a little bit of like a side hustle on this? Or is this your full-time job being the DJ CORM?
Yeah. Travis, this is a good question. So I'm just having fun.
It's always good to have fun, man. It always.
Through this platform, through platforms like that, first of all, I think, really the power of streaming has really changed things. Like, your platform, being able to have access to, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Music, et cetera, allows, artists like me to now reach kind of the world. And, in that process, like you said, social media really changed the game for a lot of us. You don't have to go out and sell vinyls all the time. You don't have to go out and sell 8-track tapes or something. You can create some music and get it out on so many different streams, and it can go viral in a matter of minutes.
Well, there's no more music television anymore. There's no more, the CDs are being faded out left and right. So social media and Spotify and all that, yes, has taken over. I mean, just think about like SoundCloud. I heard about SoundCloud, 15 years ago. I'm like, this platform, how does this work? I didn't understand it. And then all these rappers were coming out. All these guys were coming out that were quote unquote SoundCloud artists. And so, yeah, streaming in your case would has benefited on, for all the way around. So you're doing well with that. So as being a DJ, you've done live events. Describe the feeling that you get when you're up there. Now, I know you don't do like weddings and stuff like that. You're not that kind of DJ. No. You're a party guy. So you do like big events and crowds and festivals, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I've been invited to several festivals, and the last one I did was the Brickyard in Indianapolis, and I was on the same card with Colt Ford and Boomtown Saints. And when you're up there, it's really and it's amazing. I mean, there's energy that you really can't describe. And I did crazy enough, it's gonna sound weird. I did surgery on a guy who was a Cajun fiddler, and he told me, and he's in the Hall of Fame now. And he said, man, he said, Jason, I don't make music or play the fiddle because I think I'm good. He says, I make music to make people feel good. And that kind of resonated well with me. And so part of my litmus test whenever I make some music, even before, you get on stage, even before I release it, my wife, Caitlin, gets to listen to it first. And if she doesn't like it, then, thumbs down.
Thumbs down, thumbs up.
Yeah.
Two thumbs up.
Right. And then in the operating room, people get to listen to it and they tell me what they think. And what's been so amazing, even beyond, the crowds and all that, our 8-year-old son, Brixton, is actually taking a liking to EDM. And he even starts, so mom downloaded a program. And so now he's looking into this stuff, and it's really been cool. And he's such a bright kid. The sky's the limit for him. But he's really digging the music, and that makes you feel good.
Now I wasn't going to bring this up, but you've already brought it up 3 or 4 times already. So, and you just kind of schmoozed over. Oh yeah, I was doing surgery on this one guy, and he's a fiddle player, and my patient, and all that stuff. So, what is your actual title? I mean, you're not just Jason, the DJ CORM. You are.
I'm a neurosurgeon.
You're a neurosurgeon.
Yeah, I'm a neurosurgeon. So I do complex brain surgery. I do complex spine surgery, spinal reconstructions, brain tumors. Yeah. In fact, I was operating earlier this week and had a clinic today, and was really geeked up about getting to talk to you on this platform.
Well, we're excited to have you. I'm geeked up because I'm like going. I told my wife, I go, we have a doctor on the show. Oh, you've got a doctor coming? I said, yeah, but he's an EDM DJ too. She's like, well, how does that happen? I go, I don't know. I'm going to find out today. So for my wife's benefit, how did that happen? I mean, how do you separate the two? Because you're holding people's lives in your hand, and yet on the other side, you're making people feel good and enjoying themselves. I mean, how do you regulate the time between the two? I'm sure being a doctor in itself is pretty much manipulating all your time.
But Travis, and you said you're a DJ. Music, I think, is really the heart's right to breathe. It's very it's a serenity. It's a place that you can go. Your stress level drops so much, and you can really just kind of relax. It's almost like a I don't know, not to push drinking wine or whatnot, but it's like a really smooth glass of wine. Mm-hmm. And you have an inspiration, and it's to me, it's almost like it's just therapy. Right, your creativity meets therapy. You can get your emotions out, and I think a lot of artists would really agree with that. But in the operating room, if I'm performing something like spine surgery, where some people might consider that, it sounds weird, but carpentry.
I can see that, yes.
Yeah, you want to be in your element, and so high energy music, you're not dancing to it, but you're in your zone. Whether you're working on a car or doing something, you're in your zone with music. Now, if I'm in the brain, the music genre is going to change quite a bit, but it's still going to be some form of EDM. It might be Mama Tom or something,
right,
or something slower. But the point is, I think I've been blessed in that I can listen and still be myself. And the way those things come together and merge together has really been something special. So there's an overlap between the music and neurosurgery. I had this platform called Moving Heads. So whether that means bobbing your head or, in the racing sector of NASCAR or even in the operating room, it's like you're moving your head. And in some ways, many ways, it kind of overlaps.
Are you like kind of like Clark Kent and Superman? Do the people at work know that you're DJ CORM? When you leave the office and you've taken the gloves off and you've taken the scrubs off and stuff, do they know that you do this on the outside?
A lot of them know they get a kick out of it, and so yeah, you're right. You have that Superman cape, and you come home, and Caitlin reminds me I'm just Jason.
Settle down, Jason.
But she's
knock you down a peg or two.
Videos and do edits and things like that. So it's such a joy to have both atmospheres.
Well, that's good. That's good. A lot of doctors play golf. Nobody criticizes them for playing golf. A lot of doctors go deep sea fishing. You create EDM music, which is great. I think it's awesome. Now, if you had someone to collaborate with, who are the guys that you're looking at right now saying, I know you said Skrillex and all that, and that's what got you started. Who are you looking at now to say, man, if I could just achieve that level or just get to his status or to work side by side with him and collab with him, who are you looking at?
Man, I would still love, to collaborate with somebody as big as, Skrillex or Diplo, Tiesto, those big names. Those guys really created what we've been able to do. But even outside of that, people like Halsey, big time singers. There's some music coming out soon with the big name artist that we just finished up a track, and I don't want to spoil it, so people have to tune in. She has like 2 million followers on Spotify. So some big things are coming, but the other collaborations, I've branched over to country music, and so I was able to collaborate with Colt Ford, redoing his Dirt Road Anthem, Boomtown Saints, and they're really blowing up. All Trucks Go to Heaven, and Ty Herndon. So we're doing some things with Shenandoah. We had a collaboration. I'm part of 8-Track Entertainment, and so that's Shenandoah did a duet with Luke Bryan and Jason Aldean, and so having those contacts and being able to do some country music remixes, that's kind of where this is going to. But Future Rave and other things are coming.
We're talking to EDM DJ CORM, CORM, exclamation point. So for aspiring DJs, the kids that are out there and people that listen to our show, if they were thinking about maybe I'd like to be a DJ, I don't know if I need to have the right equipment, there's a lot of money involved. What kind of advice do you have for people starting out to be a DJ and people that are in the business right now financially, business wise, watch your money, it's not going to last forever type deal. What advice do you have for those two groups?
Yeah, man, that's a good question. So I would say stay consistent. Don't be afraid to experiment. The industry moves fast, and but originality is always going to stand out, and your fans are going to know it. Focus on sound design, arrangement, and storytelling, and your music. Build off of inspirations. Don't just kind of follow the crowd, because you're not going to. Things that are organic are going to tell your story from your heart. I think networking is key. Collaborations are definitely key, and don't spend too much money. Don't go spend all your rent money and whatnot, because the streaming doesn't pay as much as you think it might pay.
Pennies for millions, right?
Right, exactly. You're not gonna get crazy rich all that, and maybe you do if your song goes viral and it's super dope and you have traction. But I think the point is, stay consistent. Do it because you love it. That's why I'm doing it. I'm having fun. I never expected to be, a Skrillex or Calvin Harris or a Diplo. I'm having fun, and through just making some good organic music and making good friends, like with 8-Track Entertainment. Shout out to Noah Gordon and Jeff Goodwin. It's been great, man, and I've garnered several million streams. I'm just gonna try to keep it going, but it's fun. That's the biggest point. It's just fun.
Being in this business, I've had the opportunity to meet a lot of different DJs and stuff. And they always had like the vinyl records. I'm talking way back in the day. I started this in 97, and they had the records with the little piece of tape on it, and they'd sit there and just watch the record. I'm like, what are you doing? They're like, I'm counting the beats. I'm counting the, how many times that thing goes around and how many, trying to figure out the BPMs, because it was all vinyl. We didn't have the stuff that we have today. Now, are you opposed to using vinyl, or are you like multimedia? Do you use everything?
I use everything. I mean, I think even with the CDJs, they're never going to really have the feel of the techniques, techniques 1200.
The 1200, yep.
Going to be the staple of a DJ. So I would, in live concerts, obviously, the CDJs are what you have. That's what you're going to show up in when you go to big clubs. But if you're doing something, local or not, man, bring out the 1200s. Like that's your staple.
So you were in college. You played for LSU. You played semi-pro basketball. You're a doctor. A neurosurgeon, not just a doctor, a neurosurgeon. I mean, you're literally in the guts, and you're a DJ, EDM DJ. What is the future for CORM right now? Where do you see you going? Do you see the DJing taking over the doctor portion, the medical field of it, or is it just, hey, I play golf. If I spend a little money on my golf clubs, so be it type deal?
This was like, I said, Trav, this is fun for me. If we select, I've been invited to festivals in, Canada, Italy, different areas, Brazil. And if there's like we might go spend a couple of weeks out there, that might be cool. But to turn that engine on and become full-time doing that, no, I'm not really interested in doing that. But collaborating, creating good music, standing behind the scenes, being a producer, engineer, that's really what I like to do. And really the future, like I said, I have I had a new song drop last night, actually called Highs and Lows, with a artist called Lacey. And so things like that, collaborating with people and just making good music that makes people feel good. Family is very important. And so I think also for aspiring DJs, your family has to be part of that. Don't lose sight of that, because no matter how crazy it gets with all the things that I'm dancing around with, whether it's dealing with the NFL, dealing with the NCAA, racing, work with number of different organizations through what I do. I try to keep family first, because at the end of the day, when you come home, man, that's where it is, and everything I do is for them.
So where can our listeners get a hold of you outside of this show right here? Do you have a social media? I'm sure you do. You got a big presence in social media. How can they find you, get a hold of you if they have questions or they want to find more of your music?
Yeah, so they can go directly to my website at www.cormmusic, and that's music is spelled MUZIK .com. And so you also find that same engine on for Instagram, Facebook, and another outlet, certainly on Spotify. Please look me up, CORM and 2 exclamation points. And I'll really be appreciated. And I thank you for all the love for the fans.
And one more thing, don't forget, you've got a book, don't you? You've got a book out there.
Yeah, I have a book it's called Driven. And you can go to the www.thedrivenbook.com. And that's a book basically about life, things that I've gone through. No one's perfect. It's some of my trials and tribulations in life. There were several times in my life where I really didn't have it together. I didn't know what was going to happen. Credit cards all charged up. I did things that, anyone did when they were coming up, and didn't figure out where it was going to go. But I was always passionate about what I did, good, bad, or somewhere in between. And through it all, through surrounding yourself by good people, watching your environments and believing in God and pushing forward. I had some really good people along the way that helped were guides to me to be a good person. So if you surround yourself with good people, then it's going to be almost impossible for you to go the wrong way. But you surround yourselves by people that aren't very good, then things are going to happen. So hopefully the book is not for someone that has been successful. Everything they've touched just turned to gold. It's a book about, look, I came to this point, I failed, and this is how it happened for me, and I was able to work it out. Then I failed again, and then I failed again, and then things worked out. So, it's really a help book for those that are like, man, don't give up on life. If you fail the first time, the second time, there's always a way. Maybe you're just looking through the wrong lens, and maybe you need to change your surroundings. So it's about choices.
I'd like to thank EDM DJ CORM for joining us this week. Stick around. We'll be right back.